This is a key to topic 23, part B, worksheet 1. And on this worksheet, you want to divide these polynomials, and you want to do this using synthetic division. And you're going to write the answer as quotient plus the remainder divided by the divisor. So let's go ahead and look at number 1. So in number 1, you have this polynomial divided by this linear factor, which is x minus 3. Now, notice in the directions it says using synthetic division. So your divisor, your denominator, needs to be a linear factor, and the coefficient of x needs to be 1. So that's the only way that you can use synthetic division. Okay, now, when using synthetic division, remember the process for your denominator. Just remember, you got to take that denominator and set it equal to 0. And when you solve for x, this is the number, the 3, that you're going to use in your process. So you can put a 3 here and a little sideways box like this, like two segments at an angle. So it'll be like this. So don't put negative 3. All right, so remember, you got to take this, the denominator, set it equal to 0, and make sure that's the x that you used. Okay? Now, the numbers that go here, remember, are the coefficients of the polynomial that's in the numerator. And if there are any missing terms, you must put a 0, okay? And it must be in descending order. So notice that my numerator, this polynomial is in descending order, and there are no missing terms. So the coefficients are 1, -5, 3, and 7. All right, and then leave a space here, and then we're going to put a line right here. All right, first thing you do, and you must do this, so everything I show here you must do as well. So you bring down the 1, and then you multiply. 3 times 1 is 3. You put that in the next column. Then you add those two numbers. -5 plus 3 is -2. Then you multiply 3 times -2, -6. You put that in the next column. See how I'm aligning this? It must be aligned just like this. Don't put that 3 anywhere else. The 3 must go under the -5. The -6 must go under the 3. 3 and -6 is a -3. And then we multiply. 3 times -3 is -9. And then we add, and you get -2. So notice when you do this diagonal situation here, that's multiplication, and then you add, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. Okay? Now, once you get to that last column, this is your remainder. That's your remainder. Okay? Now, your quotient. Let's talk about the quotient. Now, you see you're taking x cubed and you're dividing it by x, right? So x cubed divided by x is x squared. So every time your quotient, the largest exponent will be 1 less than the largest exponent of the numerator, because x cubed divided by x is x squared. So that means this will be 1x squared minus 2x and your constant. All right, so the answer, the quotient is 1x squared, just x squared, minus 2x minus 3 plus the remainder, -2, divided by the divisor, which is, the divisor, which is x minus 3. All right, and so there's your answer. There's the work. There's the answer. Just remember about this, what we just talked about, though. So this was x to the 4th. Then this will be an x cubed, x squared, and so on. Okay? All right, so that's a little point here that some students have to get used to. So they see these numbers, but then they get confused. Well, what are the variables that go here? All right, so just remember, x cubed, x squared. X to the 4th, then this will be x cubed. X to the 7th, then this will be x to the 6th, because you're dividing it by, remember, this is always x. When using synthetic division, it's always x. So you just subtract 1 from that exponent. All right, so that's number 1. Let's look at number 2. Number 2, we have this. You have 3x cubed plus 5x minus 1 divided by x plus 1. Okay? synthetic division. I can use synthetic division here because this is linear. The denominator is linear, the divisor is linear, and the coefficient of x is 1. But remember though, when you do that, you got to make sure you put the correct number here. So take that denominator and set equal to 0, and then it'll tell you what x needs to go here. So x needs to be -1. The coefficient to go here, the coefficient of these, if there's any missing terms, you got to put 0. So x cubed, coefficient of x cubed is 3. There's no x squared, so I got to put 0. You must put 0. X, the coefficient of x is 5, and then your constant's -1. The constant always goes last. Remember, you leave some space, and you put a segment here, a little line. Bring down always the process is bring down the first number, and then you multiply. -1 times 3, -3. The -3 must go into the 0. Then you add those two numbers. 0 and -3 is -3. Then you multiply all over again. -1 times -3, +3. 3 must go into the 5. Then you add. 5 and 3 is 8. Then you multiply. -1 times 8 is -8. And then you add, you get -9. So that is your remainder. All right, now remember what we said, x cubed. So this has to be x squared, because x cubed divided by x is x squared. So x squared, x, and your constant. So therefore the answer will be the quotient, which will be 3x squared minus 3x plus 8, plus the remainder, -9, divided by the divisor, which is x plus 1. Now let me go back and say this. See how we put plus right here, right? Now you could have also said this. 3x squared minus 3x plus 8 minus 9 divided by x plus 1. So this and this are the same thing, okay? Those are the same thing. And I could have done the same thing here if I wanted to. So I could have said x squared minus 2x minus 3 minus 2 divided by x minus 3. Okay? Does not matter. All right, that was number 2. Okay, let's look at number 3. All right, number 3, we have -2x cubed plus 3x squared minus 1 divided by x minus 1. All right, so I'm going to rewrite this as -2x cubed plus 3x squared minus 1 divided by x minus 1. And again, direction says to use synthetic division. And I can use synthetic division here because the divisor is linear and the coefficient of x is 1. All right, now remember the number that goes here, you got to take x minus 1 set equal to 0 and solve for x. So x is 1, so 1 goes here. The numbers that go here are the coefficients of your polynomial that's in the numerator, your dividend. And if there are any missing terms, you must put 0. So I do have a missing term here. See that x term's missing. So the coefficients are going to be -2, and it's already in descending order. Make sure you put in descending order. -2, 3, 0, because the x term's missing, and then the constant's -1. And then you do the process. Bring down the first term, and then you multiply. 1 times -2 is -2. That must go under the 3. Then you add 3 and -2. That's -2 here. 3 and -2 is 1. Then you multiply. 1 times 1 is 1. That must go into the 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. Then you multiply. 1 times 1 is 1. Then you add. You get 0. So the remainder is 0. Okay? So remember, this is x cubed, so this has to be x squared. So the degree of your quotient is going to be 2. So 3. You always go 1 less because you're dividing by x. 3x cubed divided by x is x squared. So you get x squared. This is x. This is your constant. So the answer will be -2x squared plus x plus 1. So there's your quotient from here. That's this. Plus the remainder divided by the divisor. Now, since the remainder is 0, 0 divided by x minus 1 is 0. And 0 plus this polynomial is still this polynomial. So you could have just said -2x squared plus x plus 1. All right, so there's the work. There's your answer. Okay? All right, number 4. So let's look at number 4. So in number 4, we have this one. We have this polynomial, 2x to the fourth minus 11x cubed plus 11x squared plus 4x plus 4 divided by x minus 4. All right, and you want to determine the quotient and the remainder using synthetic division. I can use synthetic division because this is linear. The divisor is linear and the coefficient of x is 1. But let me go ahead and rewrite this as 2x to the fourth minus 11x cubed plus 11x squared plus 4x plus 4 divided by x minus 4. Now again, make sure this is in descending order. I could have had the terms listed differently. Just make sure you write it in descending order. So the number that goes here will be x minus 4 equals 0, so x equals 4. So 4 goes here. Okay, not negative 4, 4. So make sure you're careful. There are no missing terms, and it's already in descending order, so I'm just going to write the coefficients. 2, negative 11, positive 11, positive 4, positive 4. All right, and then leave some space, and then we bring down the first term. Then you multiply. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 must go into the negative 11. Then you add. Negative 11 and 8 is a negative 3. Then you multiply. 4 times negative 3 is a negative 12. Then you add. 11 and negative 12 is a negative 1. Then you multiply. 4 times negative 1 is a negative 4. That must go into the 4. 4 and negative 4 is 0. Then you multiply. 4 times 0 is 0. And then you add, and you get 4. So there's your remainder. Okay. Now remember how to write the quotient. So you see, all you have here are numbers. You don't have any variables. So you got to insert those variables. So you see, this is x to the fourth, right? Okay, x to the fourth divided by x is x cubed. So that means this must be x cubed here. So 2x cubed. The next one, that's cubed. The next one must be x squared, then x, and then your constant. All right. So how do you write this? Well, there are a couple ways you could write this. You could say this. So your quotient is going to be 2x cubed minus 3x squared minus x. And then some of you are going to say plus 0. I'm not going to take off any points in that, but just remember, adding 0 is the same thing as just adding those three terms here. But you must say plus 4 divided by, so your remainder is 4, right? So 4 divided by your divisor, which is x minus 4. Or you could let the 0 off. You could have said 2x cubed minus 3x squared minus x plus 4 divided by x minus 4. All right, so either one of those is fine. Okay, so that was number 4. All right, now number 5 says this. Number 5 says determine, okay, number 5, determine whether, so determine if this polynomial x plus 3 is a factor of this polynomial, 2x cubed plus 3x minus 2. And you had a worksheet on something like this in a previous lesson, but there you had to use long division. Now here you can use synthetic division because the divisor is linear and the coefficient of x is 1. So that's the way we're going to do this. We're going to use long division. I'm sorry, synthetic division. All right. So let's go ahead and do synthetic division on this to see if this x plus 3 is a factor of this. So remember, if the remainder is 0, then it's a factor. Okay, so we need to look at the remainder. Okay, so I take x plus 3, set equal to 0, and I get x to be negative 3, and so that's what's going to go here, negative 3. Now I do have a missing term here, so the x squared is missing, so I must make sure I write 0 there. So I have 2, 0, 3, negative 2. All right, bring down the first term. Negative 3 times 2 is a negative 6. Then we add 0, negative 6, negative 6. Then we multiply. Negative 3 times negative 6 is 18. 18 plus 3 is 21. Then we multiply. Negative 3 times 21 is negative 63. And then we add, we get negative 65. And so there's your remainder. Now remember what that means in terms of the question, what that means. Since the remainder is not 0, then this is not a factor of this. All right, so So I'm going to get, so the answer, you're going to say, since the remainder is not 0, x plus 3 is not a factor of 2x cubed plus 3x minus 2. Okay? All right, so that is the key to this worksheet.